Welcome back, everyone. I am super excited today about this video. It is about barley and backpacking. And I'd like to tell you what sparked me getting off of my butt and making a new video. I was on Reddit the other day, and there was this question on Reddit: does YouTube need another backpacking channel? And there was a comment from a mitten camper, and I'd like to read you what Mr. Mitten Camper wrote. He wrote, "At this point, I see very few people doing anything interesting or new. All of the information is just being regurgitated, except people are using more and more ridiculous thumbnails to get you to click on their videos so they can make money. Very little of it is genuine and earnest. These people will tell you they're just trying to share their passion and inform, but they are not. They are mainly interested in making a living off of ad revenue. Is there anything wrong with that? No. But is the info they're providing unique and worthy? I say usually not. Anything they're saying has been said before. They just won the thumbnail war." Well, first of all, Mr. Mitten Camper, I truly appreciate your poetry at the end. And I can also tell you that this video, nobody is watching it because I won the thumbnail war. That's for sure. I can also tell you it is not being done for ad revenue. My last video on foods that help with backpacking constipation has made $1.23 over the last month. A similar video that I made on chia seed pudding has made exactly 23 cents over the last 90 days. I can tell you that this video is being made purely out of the love that I have for barley and backpacking and not for ad revenue. So let's start. Here we go. Why you should bring more barley backpacking. Now, everybody's familiar with oatmeal. Well, I'm assuming most people are familiar with oatmeal and backpacking. If you watch anybody's video where they lay out all of their food, you're always going to see those little packets under the breakfast part. And, you pour those packets into your bowl and it comes along with all of that powdered natural and artificial flavorings and all that other good stuff that they put in there, lots of processed sugars. And I'm a big fan of bringing oatmeal. If you've watched another video on this channel, you know that I'm kind of a DIY sort of person. So I'll bring plain oatmeal and add all my other flavorings to it. But there is also one thing that I bring besides oatmeal that I've been holding back sharing on this channel until now, and that is barley. Now, barley is not a grain that a lot of people are familiar with. It's not something you can just go into your whatever your super grocery generic store is and find it in the oatmeal aisle. Is there an oatmeal aisle? In the cereal aisle. Around here, there's 3 different places that you can buy it. And so let me just show you what it looks like first. As you can see in this little clip that I've added in here, on the right-hand side, you have barley, and on the left-hand side, you have oatmeal. Full disclosure, it's not actually oatmeal, it is barley flakes. It looks the same. I forgot to bring the oatmeal down into my studio here, so I figured I would just try to pull that one off, and unless you're really observant, you wouldn't notice anyway. So, barley can look exactly like oatmeal. I mean, literally you would not know the difference. One of the things that I like about it, though, is you can buy a version of barley called pressed barley. And that is my favorite for bringing backpacking. The reason why I like pressed barley, first of all, why barley? Let's do some nutrition first of all. So let's go through some key nutrition things that backpackers look at. If you brought a half a cup of barley and a half a cup of oatmeal, the barley is going to have 350 calories versus oatmeal's 133. And I'm talking specifically the pressed barley right here. It's going to have 2 grams of fat versus 1 for the oatmeal. It's going to have 73 carbs versus 30 for the oatmeal. It's going to have 3 times as much fiber. It's going to have 13 grams of protein versus 5 grams of protein for the oatmeal. And vitamins and minerals up the wazoo. It's twice as much magnesium, all sorts of manganese, it's all sorts of zinc. So it's super duper nutritious, a whole lot more things than oatmeal. Now, it is heavier than oatmeal. So if you brought, 1 cup of barley and you brought 1 cup of oatmeal, you do have a lot more nutrition in there, but it weighs a lot more. So for you gearheads who weigh everything, if it was gram for gram, let me just break out real quick, this is gonna be super quick, some nutrition gram for gram. So if you brought a gram, obviously no one brings a gram, but a gram of oatmeal versus a gram of barley, the barley is gonna have 4.4 calories per gram versus 2.5 for the oatmeal. The barley is going to have 1 carb in a gram versus a half of a carb, 0.5 in oatmeal. Fiber, barley is going to, I already did that one. So whether you take the same amount or whether you take the same weight, either way, barley is going to end up being more nutritious for you. All right, now the barley, the pressed barley is my favorite. You can buy pressed barley. This is barley flakes, so it's going to work the same way oatmeal flakes would. And you can also buy instant barley. Basically, you pour the water in and it's like bam, it's soft and ready to eat. All 3 of these are not very common in stores. I find them in 3 places. This one here is from Amazon, and I will leave a link to it below. I know people have their different issues with Amazon, but just, it is easy, right? And also you might live in an area where barley is just not available and want to give it a shot. This particular bag I think is the best deal on Amazon. I think this was 3 pounds for like $13 or something like that. The other place that you can buy barley is one, and probably the best bet for a lot of people, is in an Asian aisle or an Asian market. So this is pressed barley. This was 30 ounces for $5.50. And that's the only kind that I can find in the Asian market. The other type of market, if you happen to live in a big city, not a lot of places in the United States have this, but if you have like a little Poland, or if you have a Polish store, or a high Polish ethnic percentage of the population, you can find it in those stores. So for example, on Monday, I'm going up to Little Poland in New Britain, Connecticut, and I'm gonna get a whole bunch of bags from there. And they have all different types of barley. So they have barley flakes, they've got instant barley, they've got the pressed barley. You can buy all sorts of different types and all sorts of different brands. So the actual cooking of the barley, all you need to do, I'll just use this barley right here. Now, again, I'm a cold soaker, so I'm going to put this into my cold soaking container. For the pressed barley, I have eaten it pretty much right away, but I like to let it soak for about 15-20 minutes or so. Once you put your barley in, from there, it's just an open book. I've brought some things down here that I normally put in. So you can put in some raisins, and again, raisins are a disrespected backpacking food. I'm a big fan of raisins. There's a lot of different types of raisins, and maybe we need a whole video just on raisins. And one of the things I would recommend doing if you're going to use raisins is let them soak for a while, because they get big and plump and juicy and just taste so much sweeter. So if you're trying to get off the extra added sugars, throw some raisins in, let it soak. The other thing I'll throw in sometimes is chia seeds. Chia seeds do absorb a lot of water. So if you're not used to making stuff with them, you might have to add some extra water before you learn how much you have to add in. The other thing is you can add in some flaxseed meal, and last but not least, some nuts or some seeds. These are some pumpkin seeds right here. And if you do have that sweet tooth and you need to have it sweet, you can also add in some chocolate chips. And what I like to do for this, if I'm going to add chocolate chips, is these are the mini chocolate chips. So they're little tiny ones. And so for whatever reason, it seems like I don't need as many, and I can just throw a little bit in. And because they're little, you pretty much get something in every single bite. And so you don't need as much, but you still get that sweetness in every single bite. So that is a little bit about barley and backpacking. It's going to be more nutritious. It's going to be, you can bring less of it, especially if you're going on a longer trip. You just don't need as much space. You need 2/3 as much space as if you were bringing oatmeal. And I think that is it. If you have any questions about it, feel free to leave it in the comment. I know this wasn't an expansive video on barley and backpacking, but just thought I would introduce you to one new type of food that you can bring on your next trip. Thanks.